Today, I'm putting what I think is one of the world's most underrated business class products to the test. I'm on the SAS A350 in seat 6A for the long 12-plus hour run from Bangkok to Copenhagen. SAS has a pretty small route network, so if you're not living in the Nordics, you might not even think of them. But you can sometimes find really good business class fares with them, and well, keep watching to see whether this is something you might want to try and fly. Just as when we arrived a couple days ago on the flight deck with the SAS A350, now departing back to Copenhagen as a passenger this time, we're in the satellite terminal once again. I hadn't even realized that this was open. It looks like it's relatively new. Even some parts are not totally finished, and it's just a much nicer version of the main terminal. Main terminal definitely showing its age, but then again, it's never really been that nice. I think it's kind of the result of bad design, if you ask me. But, you know, it's a matter of personal preference, but I don't like that kind of big, open, glassy, echoey airport design, especially when you have so many people and then you just hear the voices in the main terminal area. But they do fast track really well. It's not pretty, but it works. It's fast and really easy to get through. So as long as you don't have to check in bags, sometimes that can be a bit nuts, even for premium cabins. If you can skip that, go through fast track, it's great. And then the lounge is quite nice. So, made my way over to the satellite terminal here, and time to go find the boarding gate and get on board this A350 and fly in business class this time, which means, luckily for me, that the flight will feature a lot more sleep than the previous one did. Hopefully, at least the chance for a lot more sleep. And it's pretty ideal because arrival time is 6 a.m. Copenhagen time, which is sort of roughly when I wake up usually, and I've kind of tried to stay on Europe time, be up late and wake up a bit later here. So 12-hour flight or so, maybe even more. That gives you time to enjoy a bit, check out everything, film everything, of course, have a nice dinner, maybe a drink or two, and then you still have 7-8 hours to sleep if all goes well. So I'm tired. I'm optimistic, but let's see. Anyway, it'll be super nice to be on board that A350 again, and it's been years since I tried this business class. I have flown the A350 business class before. Before the pandemic was the last time I flew SAS business class in general, actually, I believe, between New York and Stockholm on the A330, but I also did Copenhagen, Chicago in the early days in business class on the 350. So, not that my memories are that fresh and I wasn't doing videos then, but I'll be curious to see what it's like compared to what I remember. Anyway, that seat is beautiful. Looks super comfortable, so let's go get on board. Before we go any further, you should know that SAS paid for this ticket. That's because they set up the flight deck ride for the flight radar video and then got me home after. In general, I pay for my own tickets so that no one has to wonder if a free flight might have made me less objective about a product. In this case, I decided better to do the review and just be transparent about it. SAS had no preconditions or any demands about what I publish and did not see this video before I put it out. And for what it's worth, the opinions here are entirely my own and really what I think. And I promise to always be transparent about this sort of thing if it ever comes up again in the future. So let's get on board. This seat is understated, simple, and comfortable. The layout makes sense, there's enough storage, the colors are calming, and I actually like that there aren't a bunch of fancy features or extra bells and whistles to get bogged down in. Most importantly, it's got just the right amount of padding, the footwell has plenty of space, it's very comfortable to sleep in, and as a bonus, it's got these little foot massage grooves. There's nothing quite like an A350 takeoff, so I'll let you enjoy that, and after departure, we'll get a little bit more into the seat. The Amenity kit bag is actually really useful. It's good quality, it looks nice, and critically has no zippers. That's usually the part that breaks after 5 days on most airline kit. The contents are just average, but the bag I love. The bag is really nice with the stripes. And I could see using that for other things. I think that's the best part. The drinks menu is pretty fun here. I love the range of specialty cocktails, things you won't find anywhere else. And there are some non-alcoholic options too, which is always good. Also, loving the spirits sourced from around the Nordics. That's what I want on a flight, local flavors to try. I opt for a canned drink to start, a non-alcoholic mojito which they suggest adding some vodka to. This is tasty and goes well with the nuts. Alright, let's try this drink. I never tried this one before. Ready-made mocktail, but I asked for some vodka in it, as it suggested in the menu if you wanted a bit of a kick to it. So, not what I would normally drink. I wouldn't normally order a mojito either. I was just kind of curious. These canned cocktails and mocktails can be kind of good. Yeah, it's pretty good. I also like how you can take a look at the drinks options on the screen here. Now let's get to the food. The starter looks and tastes fresh. And for the main dish, I get the beef short rib. This is also really tasty. It's funny, I would usually opt for the Asian option on flights to or from Asia in general, but maybe after 48 hours of eating tons of Thai food, I was more on the European wavelength this evening. Anyway, all in, very happy with the meal service. It was all fresh, had good flavor, and wasn't overwhelming, which is a plus considering the midnight departure. Time for another drink because I have to try a few, right? This one is the Forest Spring cocktail. Whiskey, apple juice, and ginger ale. Simple, refreshing, and delicious. Assuming you like whiskey, that is. That is actually really tasty. That's a nice drink. I don't drink a lot of whiskey these days, but yeah, that's good. So what else do I like about this experience? The mood lighting paired with these muted cabin colors is just so elegant and goes really nice with a view of foreign cities below. 10 out of 10 for long-haul travel vibes. This is a lovely environment to be in. The screen is big and high definition, very crisp. The moving map and tail camera look great. The entertainment selection is on the less extensive side among airlines. There's an annoying tendency to load just a few episodes of a given TV show, for example. Sometimes in the middle of a season, so the odds of you wanting to watch just those are very low, of course. And there's nothing better than being able to binge a whole season of a good show on a long flight. So I'd love to see that improve. By the way, I recently rediscovered the joys of a Bailey's on the rocks before bed on a flight, and I can't recommend it enough. I mean, technically the best policy on an airplane is to drink no alcohol whatsoever, but for me, the fun of trying a few drinks in the sky outweighs the cons. Luckily, this flight is so long, I have plenty of time to try and sleep after all this fun, and I managed to get 7 hours. That is a huge win, and I put it down to a combination of the late departure time, the lower cabin altitude and higher humidity of the A350, which makes a big difference for me, and the comfort of the seat. The latter is an important point. I've been on A350s where it's not as easy to sleep simply because the seat in lie flat mode is not super comfortable, usually because of some uneven padding or protrusions in the seat that make you feel constricted or a tight footwell. Here you have the right amount of space for your whole body, including your feet. The bedding is nice and the seat is soft. For me, it's a 9 out of 10 for sleeping comfort. The only way to get a 10 would be to have a first class style full bed with no constricted areas whatsoever. Maybe a nice memory foam mattress pad too. Oh, and bonus points for slippers being provided. If you've been watching my other videos regularly, you'll know how much I appreciate those. If I had to make a wish list though, pajamas on a flight of this length would really take the comfort up another level, in case you're listening, SAS. My sense is that SAS is really motivated to improve lately, and they've been bumping up the quality of things like the food, thinking strategically about the fleet mix and route map, and there's a kind of morale and ambition there that was really missing a couple of years back with the hit of the pandemic and the financial troubles the airline has been going through. I think with the coming shift to SkyTeam, there's a sense that things can really turn around, and that's great to see. My hope is that in all this, SAS will remember what they do best is offer a premium service, and continue to add to the offering offer rather than chip away at costs. SAS at its best gives you a special meeting of Nordic cozy comfort, fresh and unique food and drink, unfussy service, good design, and effective operations. And they did all that here. This is the SAS I want to see more of. It was a really nice flight, and I'd happily fly the SAS A350 in business any day. Now, if only they get about 10 more of these and double the size of the route network. That should be easy enough, right? We can dream, though. Such a nice flight, and it's hard to go wrong with the A350 and a lie flat seat. Pretty much any version of that is going to be amazing. I mean, the A350, it just sets the bar so high because it's quiet, it's smooth, and the cabin altitude is low, so you just feel better coming off it. And it's a more enjoyable flight, less tiring, more comfortable. But also, SAS offers something quite nice there. It's simple, it's minimal, it's kind of what you'd expect, the cliche of Nordic service and outfitting, but it's really effective actually. You have just what you need. The seat is relatively simple, not a lot of bells and whistles, but then you kind of don't want that. Same thing with the menu. Not super extensive, but the food is tasty, there's a few nice drinks, you get what you need, and on that aircraft you can sleep. I slept 7 hours on that flight. So for me, it's kind of an ideal scenario. You have to have your expectations set correctly going into it. You're not going into an Emirates or a Qatar Airways. That's not what SAS is trying to be. But when they can deliver that kind of simple, effective, minimal, clean, efficient service and feeling, actually, you come off the plane feeling less tired, more energized. It does the job. It does the trick really well, especially on that beautiful, magnificent A350. Thanks for coming along. I'm Gabe Leigh.